So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a very short span of time within 30 minutes so that you get to cover your current affairs in very little time and your entire day is freed up to cover other parts of your UPSC syllabus. Now, just after watching this lecture, you need to revise this lecture as well because revision helps in consolidating these current affairs in your memory. Okay? Now, you can revise these current affairs from the notes provided by us, and these notes are available on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below this video. You just have to click on that link. It'll take you to our Telegram channel, and from there you can download the notes for this lecture. Now, let's begin today's discussion. But first, let's take a look at the list of topics that we are going to cover today. Okay. So, number one topic is Indus Water Treaty. Recently, World Bank appointed neutral arbiter ruled in favor of India. Okay, with respect to certain disputes between India and Pakistan regarding Indus Water Treaty. Now, what is Indus Water Treaty? What were the disputes all about? We'll talk about everything. Then the second topic is SEBI's when listed platform. SEBI is going to launch a new platform that is going to clamp down on, or that is going to disincentivize grey market trading. Okay, grey market trading is basically unofficial share trading. Generally, share market runs on Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange, but some people actually buy and sell shares uh, unofficially, right? This is known as grey market. So to disincentivize grey market trading, SEBI has launched this platform. So we'll talk about this. Then recently, Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli said that he is going to gift tigers to other nations. Basically, it is another tool for diplomacy. And he said that he made this statement because Nepal has too many tigers, as per the Prime Minister of Nepal. So he's going to gift these extra tigers to different countries, improving diplomatic relationships using animals. Okay. And in the end, we'll talk about ad hoc judges. Recently, Supreme Court has said that different high courts should appoint retired high court judges, or they should appoint retired high court judges as ad hoc judges. Now, our constitution is very clear about ad hoc judges. So, what are the constitutional provisions related to ad hoc judges, and why has Supreme Court released this direction and given this direction to high courts to appoint ad hoc judges? We'll talk about this. So we'll talk about these four issues. Okay, let's start our discussion starting with Indus Water Treaty. Okay, so yeah, the neutral expert appointed by the World Bank under the terms of Indus Water Treaty has decided in India's favor regarding dispute over Ratle and Kishanganga projects. Okay, the Indus Water Treaty calls for the resolution of disputes between India and Pakistan by a neutral expert appointed by World Bank. Look, Indus River and its 5 tributaries flow from India to Pakistan. Okay, Indus River flows through the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Then its 5 tributaries: Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Byas, and Satluj. These 6 rivers flow from India to Pakistan. Now, to allow for equitable sharing of waters, okay, these two countries, with mutual understanding, concluded a treaty called Indus Water Treaty. Okay, now as per this treaty, if there is any dispute between India and Pakistan with respect to sharing of waters, then that dispute would go to a neutral expert appointed by World Bank. Okay, now recently, India announced that it is going to build hydropower projects in Jammu and Kashmir called Kishanganga project and Ratle project. Now, Pakistan said that these hydropower projects would reduce the flow of waters into Pakistan, and this is bad for Pakistan. And Pakistan alleged that this is a violation of Indus Water Treaty. Therefore, this dispute went to the neutral expert, and the neutral expert has ruled in favor of India. Okay. Now, what is Indus Water Treaty? Okay. Why are Ratle and Kishanganga projects so controversial as per Indus Water Treaty? And what is this neutral expert? Okay, let's understand this. So, about Indus Water Treaty. So, look, these 6 rivers actually flow from India to Pakistan. Now, Pakistan was afraid that India will sometime in future will block the flow of these rivers to Pakistan, and these rivers are the lifeline of Pakistan. Pakistan's economy depends on the waters provided by these rivers. Okay, so Pakistan was fearful because these rivers come from India to Pakistan. Therefore, Pakistan was fearful that India might exploit this fact, this geographical reality. So, therefore, India and Pakistan concluded this treaty. Okay, from India's side, this was a confidence building measure to assure Pakistan that we are not out here to destroy them. And from Pakistan's perspective, this treaty is important because this assures a regular supply of these waters into Pakistan, which can be called the lifeline of Pakistan. Okay. Now, this treaty was signed in Karachi by the then Pakistan President Ayub Khan and India's Prime Minister Nehru. Now, the negotiations for this treaty were led by World Bank. So, it was a World Bank negotiated treaty. It was signed in Karachi on September 19th, 1960. The purpose was very simple, to determine the distribution of waters of Indus and its tributaries. And I have mentioned you the name of the tributaries, 5 tributaries. Now, as per this treaty, India enjoys unrestricted use of 3 eastern rivers, whereas Pakistan controls 3 western rivers. Okay. Now, what are these eastern rivers? Okay. These are Ravi, Beas, and Satluj. India enjoys unrestricted access to these rivers. That means India can build any type of dam on these rivers. But when it comes to western rivers, well, Pakistan enjoys full control over these western rivers Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab. Okay, so India has full control over these rivers, Pakistan has full control over these rivers. And by full control, we mean that India cannot block the flow of water of these western rivers. India cannot build a dam that would block the flow of water flowing in these western rivers. Okay, so this was what was concluded in this Indus Water Treaty. As per this treaty, India showed a bigger heart. Okay, India conceded a lot of things because as per this treaty, 30% of waters in the Indus River system goes to India, and Pakistan has access to 70% of the waters of the Indus River system. Okay, as per this treaty, because 30% of the water is in these 3 eastern rivers, whereas 70% of the water is in these 3 western rivers. Okay, now, what was the dispute? Okay, what was the dispute basically? Look, as per Article 3, Clause 1 of the treaty, India is under obligation to let flow waters of western rivers to Pakistan. As I've mentioned before, Pakistan has full control over these 3 western rivers. Therefore, India cannot build a dam that would block the flow of these 3 western rivers. Okay, if India does so, it would be a violation of Article 3, Clause 1. Okay, but India decided to build 2 hydroelectric power projects on Kishan Ganga River, which is a tributary of Jhelum, and Ratle hydroelectric project on Chenab River. Now, Jhelum and Chenab are western rivers. Okay. Now, India has argued that these dams are run-off river projects. That means they do not block the flow of water. They just use the flow of water to run a turbine and produce electricity. So we are not building a dam that would block the flow of water and store water. These are run-off river projects that would just use the energy of flowing waters to move a turbine and produce electricity. Okay, just using the natural flow of river. But Pakistan has raised objections over the design of these dams. Okay, Pakistan says that India is just claiming that these are run-off river projects. Actually, they are blocking the flow of water. Now there is a dispute. Okay, now how are disputes resolved as per Indus Water Treaty? So Article 9 of Indus Water Treaty gives a detailed procedure for resolving disputes. Okay, Article 9 expresses, or Article 9 says that there are 3 levels of resolving these disputes. Okay, at level 1, the matter would go to Indus commissioners from both India and Pakistan. So if the dispute is at level 1, Indus commissioner from India, Indus commissioner from Pakistan would talk it out and resolve the dispute. But if both these Indus commissioners are unable to resolve this dispute, then this matter would go to a World Bank appointed neutral expert. Okay, and if he is also unable, or if the issue has escalated to level 3, then the matter would go to Permanent Court of Arbitration in Hague, Switzerland. Okay, so currently this dispute about Kishan Ganga and Ratle projects are on second level. Okay, that is why the neutral expert was appointed by World Bank, and this neutral expert ruled in favor of India, saying that Kishan Ganga and Ratle are run-off river projects and there is no issue with the design. India is free to do so. Clear? I hope it cleared some doubts regarding the Indus Water Treaty, and you have the important information that you need to know with respect to Indus Water Treaty with you now. Okay? All right. Let's move forward with second news item, which is SEBI's when listed platform. So, Securities and Exchange Board of India is planning to introduce a when listed platform which will allow trading companies shares in a period between allotment of shares post the closure IPO bidding and the official listing on stock exchanges. Now, what do they mean by this statement? You know what Securities Exchange Board of India is? Like RBI regulates banks, SEBI regulates securities market. Okay, particularly stock markets. Okay. Now they have said that they are going to create a new platform called when listed platform. Why are they doing so? Well, the thing is, whenever a company, which is a normal company, which is a private company, okay, when this company wants to have its share traded on stock exchanges, when it wants to go public, okay, when it wants to release its shares to the stock market, it releases an IPO. IPO stands for initial public offer. In that initial public offer, it says that we are giving out 10,000 shares of our company. Okay. And its base price is 10 rupees per share. So we are ready to sell these 10,000 shares at 10 rupees per share. Now, it's up to the public what is their decision with respect to the price of this share. Okay. So what happens is when the IPO is released, people start bidding. Okay. Some bid for 15 rupees per share, some bid for 20 rupees per share, and so on and so forth. After the bidding process is over, okay, that is the closure of IPO bidding. After that, this company takes all the bids and then allocates different amounts of shares to different bidders. Okay, some bidder gets 10% shares, some bidders get 2% shares. Okay, so after the bidding process is over, then the shares are allocated, and then these shares are listed on Bombay Stock Exchange, National Stock Exchange, where they can be bought and sold by other people. Clear? Now the thing is, when the bidding process is over, okay, and when these shares are listed on the stock market, there is a time lag between these two events, and that time lag is 3 days. Okay, so when the bidding process is over and the shares are allocated, for the next 3 days, these bidders have shares but they cannot trade them. So what do? They trade these shares in the gray market, unofficial market. Okay, unofficial market, unregulated market, outside the purview of or outside the sights of SEBI. Now SEBI wants to reduce trading in gray market. Therefore SEBI has said that we are launching this when listed platform where you can trade it. You can trade these shares within this 3-day period also. Okay, so you don't have to go to the gray market. You can trade these shares within this 3-day period officially on this when listed platform. So this would reduce gray market activity in company stocks. And what is gray market? Unofficial trading securities in unregulated market. Okay, what is the situation currently? I've just explained it to you. At present, once the bidding process for IPO closes, shares have to be listed on bourses, that is stock markets, in trading plus 3 working days. That means after the allotment of shares in the IPO, then 3 days pass, and then these things get listed on Bombay Stock Exchange or National Stock Exchange. Okay. The allotment of shares has to be done on T plus 1 day. In the period between the allotment of shares and the listing day, investors trade in grey market. It is this pre-listing grey market trading which the SEBI wants to reduce, and that is why they have launched when listed platform. Now, about initial public offer, I have explained it to you. Well, if you really want to read the official definition of IPO, here it is. It is shared in your notes as well. But I have explained this to you. Now, about SEBI, well, SEBI is a statutory body formed under Securities and Exchange Board of India Act in 1992. It is tasked with regulating securities market in India. Now, who all can bid in an IPO? Okay, who are these people who bid in an IPO? So there are qualified institutional buyers. These can be foreign portfolio investors, mutual funds, commercial banks, insurance funds, pension funds. Then there are individuals like you and me. We can also bid for an IPO. Okay, and we are called retail investors. Okay, now individuals who invest up to 2 lakh rupees in an IPO are called retail investors. Individual investors who invest more than 2 lakh are called high net worth individuals. Okay, that's all the information that you need. Okay, that's all. Now let's shift focus to third news item, which is issue with tiger as gifts. Okay. So what is the context of this news? First, let's talk about that. So the World Wildlife Fund in 2022 found that Nepal was home to 355 tigers. Okay. Up from just 120 tigers in 2009. So Nepal showed fantastic jump, spectacular jump in the number of tigers. Between 2009 to 2022, from 120, they have kind of tripled the number of tigers. Okay, but this success has a cost. Look, if if India had 355 tigers, that would have been okay. But Nepal is a small country, and in this small country, 355 tigers is a lot. Okay, and that is why this success, these conservation efforts, have a cost. Because in Nepal, because of developmental efforts, forest cover is shrinking, and these tigers are coming outside the forest, which leads to human tiger conflict. And many people have died because they were killed by tigers. So, it is in this context that Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has proposed that there is one way of solving this overpopulation of tigers, and that is we can catch these tigers and we can gift these tigers to different countries, thereby enhancing our diplomatic relations. So these tigers can be used for diplomacy. Okay, tiger diplomacy. Already, China uses panda diplomacy. You know these black and white pandas, they are only found in China. So China sometimes gift or leases these pandas to different zoos. Okay, all over the world, zoos. So China uses pandas, and this is known as panda diplomacy. Similarly, KP Sharma Oli is saying that we can use tiger diplomacy, right? Now, why is this move controversial? Why are conservation experts or environmentalists saying that you shouldn't do this? Because you see, tigers are apex predators, okay? And they are wild animals. They are accustomed to the wild. If you are going to domesticate these tigers, well, these tigers have a lot of needs, and those needs cannot be fulfilled in domestic setting. In captivity, they are often subjected to poor living conditions, given inadequate veterinary care, suffer from malnourishment. Plus, within the zoo, there is this problem of rampant inbreeding. If they are in the wild, well, they can breed with anyone. But in the zoos, there is rampant inbreeding, which leads to more diseases in the offspring, behavioral issues, shortens their lifespan, and many things. So you shouldn't domesticate wild animals. That's the message that these conservationists are trying to convey. Now the thing is, Nepal has a history of animal diplomacy, using animals for diplomacy. Okay, first is the instance of shikar diplomacy. Okay. During the British rule, Nepal was ruled by the Shah dynasty. Okay. But this Shah dynasty these were just ceremonial kings. Till 1951, Nepal had prime ministers, and these prime ministers were from one family only, that were called the Ranas. So these Ranas were effectively ruling Nepal, effectively, and Shahs were ruling Nepal ceremonially. So during the time of Ranas from 1846 to 1951, Ranas used shikar diplomacy. Okay, they used to invite lords and high officials of British government, right, for shikar, and they used to extract favors from them in return for this shikar diplomacy. Okay. Plus, since 1985, Nepal has exported at least 26 endangered one-horned rhinoceros to foreign governments. Again, using these endangered species as for diplomacy. The country has also gifted elephants, most recently in 2024 when it gifted two adults, Rudrakali and Khagendra Prasad, to Qatar. Okay, so Nepal has been doing that. Any which way, this information is not that important. We'll move ahead. Okay, this is important. Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF. So remember, Worldwide Fund is an international, non-governmental. Please remember this. An MCQ might be asked where they would give a statement called WF is a intergovernmental organization. No, it is a non-governmental organization founded in 1961 with headquarters in Gland, Switzerland. It is the world's largest conservation organization. The purpose is wilderness preservation and reduction of human impact on environment. Okay, and last news item is with respect to ad hoc judges. Okay, now the Supreme Court has suggested temporarily appointing retired judges on ad hoc basis. Ad hoc means temporary. Okay, to address the growing backlog of pending criminal cases before several high courts. Now, as far as high courts of India are concerned, there are many pending cases in the high courts. And the reason for that is shortage of judges. Therefore, Supreme Court has advised all these high courts to appoint retired judges, retired high court judges on an ad hoc basis to handle this excess workload so that the problem of pendency of cases gets resolved. Okay. Now, the reason why Supreme Court has given this direction is because our constitution allows for appointing judges on ad hoc basis. Okay. Article 224A of the Indian Constitution allows Chief Justice of High Court to request a retired High Court judge to perform the duties of a judge again temporarily. Okay. Till the excess workload is complete. Though it has rarely been invoked. In fact, since independent India's history, this has been invoked only 3 times. But there is a provision in our constitution. Now, about Article 224A. So, as per Article 224A of the Constitution, the Chief Justice of a High Court may, with the previous consent of the President, so the consent of President is important, with the permission of President, Chief Justice of a High Court can request a retired judge of High Court to sit and act as a judge of High Court for that state. Now, that judge can be a retired High Court judge of that state or any other High Court. Both the retired judge and President of India are required to consent. Of course, if you're asking a retired chief judge, but that judge doesn't want to become an ad hoc judge, well, then that judge can refuse. Therefore, the preliminary condition for appointing an ad hoc judge is, well, you need the consent of President and retired judge. Now, till the time this ad hoc judge is exercising his powers, he will have all the jurisdiction, powers, and privileges of a judge of a high court, but their allowances or their salaries, they would be based on a presidential order. Okay, remember, these judges would only be called ad hoc judges. They are not full-fledged judges. All right. Now, the Supreme Court has given a detailed procedure for appointment of ad hoc judges. Our constitution has given broad provisions. Supreme Court came out with a detailed procedure. Okay, that detailed procedure was mentioned in a memorandum of procedure for the appointment of high court judges in 1998. Now, there are few points that are important from this memorandum of procedure. Okay, Supreme Court has said that you cannot unilaterally and without any reason appoint high court judges just to favor your near and dear ones. You cannot do that. Okay, if you're appointing ad hoc judges, then there should be a reason behind it. You cannot use this power willy-nilly. Okay, now what are those conditions when a high court can appoint ad hoc judges? Well, Supreme Court said that there should be a trigger point. And what is that trigger point? At least 20% vacancy in the high court. That means 20% judges post in the high court should be vacant. Okay, and if there is more than 10% backlog of cases for over 5 years. So if this is the situation, there is high backlog and 20% of the posts of judges in that high court are vacant, then you can appoint ad hoc judges. Okay, that's the situation. That this is something that is mentioned in our constitution, and this is something that Supreme Court came out with itself on its own. Okay, Supreme Court created a memorandum of procedure. Okay, so this is not a constitutional requirement, 20% sanction strength, 10% backlog. This is constitutional requirement. All right. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And please do not forget to revise this lecture. Revision is important because I want you to consolidate these current affairs in your memory. And on that note, I'll be signing off. Thank you so much, everyone.